The Gina and Matty podcast.
Our next guest, according to Wikipedia, is a comedian, an actor, a TV and radio presenter, a writer, a producer and director. Some of our older audience will know him from Rove, others from The Project. I first heard Peter Helliar on Triple J Drive doing Bevan the Musical.
Welcome, this is Bevan the Musical. It's a journey, a celebration of one man's life. The rise, the fall, the rise again of Bevan Adamsall from Young Talent Time. There will be tears, there will be laughter, hopefully. But ultimately, this is a tale of triumph, of one man's courage, determination and fashion sense against the odds.
If you are a fan of Young Talent Time back in the day, do yourself a favour, jump on YouTube and search Bevan the Musical. Good morning, Pete Helliar.
That was a blast from the past, Matty. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You and Gatesy from Tripod, that is one of those moments that is burnt into my memory from my formative years of listening to you and Merrick and Rosso back in the day when you would guest on their show, mate.
It was genuinely so much fun, and that was just one of those things that almost kind of went viral before viral was a thing. It was kind of like this. We kind of hurried together this song about Bevan because Merrick and Rosso would challenge me to do different tasks, and that was my task that week. And it was during the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and I was at the Hi-Fi Bar, which is basically where all the comedians went after their shows, and punters, and just kind of drunkenly kind of yelling at Gatesy, like different songs. Like, we could do like Bevan that has a place on earth and Slice of Bevan, and
There's so many. Knocking on Bevan's door.
Yeah.
There was knocking on Bevan's door, of course, Stairway to Bevan, and it was truly kind of, we cobbled it together, and then it just exploded. I think it was like number 33 at Triple J's Hottest 100 that year. Like, we're ahead of Silverchair, it was crazy.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Pete, you've been you're a stalwart of the industry now. You've been around forever. Do you still get blown away by those little moments that people might come up to you in the street? You know, obviously Strawny was a character you played that was huge, but the more random moments that you go, oh my God, how did you remember I did that?
It's really it's interesting, Matty, because some people come up to you and say, and you get the impression they're gonna, let you know something that means something to them or they remember, and you're never quite sure what's going to come out of their mouth. And like sometimes it'll just be, oh, I love the project, or whatever it might be, something you've done recently. But sometimes when people are really specific about a reference, like it might be even a comedy routine that you completely, had forgotten about, they're the ones that I kind of like. And Bevan the Musical, I haven't been kind of, haven't probably thought about it for quite a while. We performed it about 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was the 20th anniversary of it. And so Gatesy and I performed it at the Melbourne Comedy Festival a few years ago, but that was probably the last time I thought about it.
Amazing. We're going to fawn over you for a few more minutes, mate. So you stand there.
Fawn over you.
Yeah, because another one I'm going to throw at you, being the radio nerd. Now, for those people who might not even know, that Rove, originally your show with Rove and Corinne and Dave was on Channel 9 for a year, and you did a sketch about radio prize pigs, and to this day, it still makes me laugh so much. Anyway.
Thank you, and that's like that was a segment called Other People's Lives, and it's kind of where you mentioned Strawny before, but that's where he came from because we had a meeting for that show, and they remembered Other People's Lives. They knew that I loved playing like arrogant people with little talent, so that's where kind of Strawny was from. But I love that segment as well. That's fun.
Pete, I loved you in. I love you. I've got to stop there. I love you. I came and saw you at Long Diggers, and I wanted to change your name to Peter Helliar Arias because it was so. I so recommend everyone listening on the coast now to go and see you. I had the best night with my husband. We went on a date and loved your show. But I loved you in How to Stay Married with Lisa McCune. Acting, you were so good, and I was devastated when that show ended.
Oh, we loved. I mean, funnily enough, I've been at this TV conference for the last 3 days where people talk about the future of the Australian industry and all of that, and it's funny because we do make a lot of like worthy Australian television, and it's got to be dramatic and it's got to be worthy. But How to Stay Married was great because it was broad, but it was fun, and we hadn't really done a lot of that kind of stuff before. Like we haven't made many sitcoms really.
Yeah.
and I'm really proud of How to Stay Married. I absolutely love it. And Lisa
me
McHugh's
too.
an absolute star in it, and there's so many fun people in it. Even Casey Donovan in the last series was amazing, and Broden Kelly from Auntie Donna, and Michelle Brazier. Yeah, it was so much fun.
We will talk about your gig at Wyong tonight at the Art House in just a sec. What's this conference? What is the state of Australian television industry? What is the future? How is it looking? Is it healthy? Are we worried about it? What's the concern?
I think it is healthy, and I think we've seen the success of Colin from Accounts and Fisk travel overseas, and I do think one thing I believe I do think we need to lead into comedy a bit more, to be absolutely honest. And, I love Australian drama, don't get me wrong, and there's some amazing Australian drama, but I think for some reason comedy does scare people because it's so subjective. You can kind of, you either laugh or you don't really, and with drama, you don't necessarily talk about how many times you emoted during a drama. So I think I would love us to be a bit more... lean into our sense of humour a bit more.
Yeah, me too.
And don't try to suck up to the international audiences. Let them come to our, let them find our sense of humour, and don't try to kind of overly cater for them. We want to be able to be set up to, get in front of the right people overseas and have the right people watch it and the right markets and the right, backing and all of that. But just let's be Australian. And when I say Australian, that's not necessarily old school Australian. That's showing the new Australia and the modern Australia. But let's be proud of it, and let's put it in front of audiences.
You can't do any Kingswood country jokes on the radio anymore.
Well, we were talking about this morning, Pete. Yesterday, we were talking about Bluey and the success that Bluey's having. And Bluey is hilarious, and they're using the Australianisms. Like you said, Maddie. I think you said take the bins out instead of take the trash out.
And the American kids are saying bins.
Yeah. So that's kicking a lot of goals.
Absolutely, and Daly Pearson, one of the other co-creators of Bluey, was speaking at the conference, and they had to come to the moment where they, would they allow international markets to dub the show, and and they decided not to, and it's worked, and it's probably the first case where Americans have really kind of come to the party and kind of like you said, learn that we say bins instead of trash. Like they will work it out. We've lived our whole lives adapting to Americanisms, so let them actually work it out for themselves.
Yes, Pete,
I think.
Let them.
Yeah.
Back on the stage, Pete, doing some stand-up.
Yeah, well, this is, usually I take a year off between shows, but this is like the third year in a row where I've done a show. I've kind of, it's what I identify the most with. I've never left stand-up, but certainly, other projects have overshadowed at times, but so I love doing it. This show I'm particularly, I love doing, and I can't wait to bring it to Wyong.
Have you played the Wyong Art House before, Pete?
I have. To be honest, it was one of those, when we sit down and work out what a tour might look like, I kind of will nominate some places I want to go to, and Wyong was certainly a place I said, let's make sure we get to Wyong, because I was there probably too long ago, and it's a beautiful theatre,
yes.
And it's really well supported by the community, and
it really is. And I was
it's got a great golf course near it as well. So
and Pete, I don't know if you know, because I've done a few gigs out there as well. There's a really good Italian restaurant. I'm just going to give you the tip if you need dinner. Asterio Amano does really good Italian, surprisingly in Wyong, and there's a really, really good Thai restaurant there as well, which no one's kind of probably expecting if you don't live out there. So good food as well for before the show, Pete.
Thank you, Gina.
That's the tip.
I appreciate that.
Got to look after.
There's going to be a whole lot of people waiting out the front to meet Pete before he goes. He's trying to eat some spaghetti now.
You've got to go and get someone to get it for you. You got people that go and pick it up, right?
Pete, how do you go with your new material? Because there's, do you go and just turn up to clubs and say, hey, have you got a spare slot for 5 minutes and I can practice? Is it old school, or are you is it?
There's a bit of dropping in. And doing kind of spots unannounced to begin with. And then there's a great room in Melbourne called the Comics Lounge, which is a pretty big room. And I usually try to book around October. I'll book, like a week there. And I'll do a mix of stuff that works, older stuff that, I know that works. So the crowd's getting their value for money, but also I'll start working in. I'll use it as scaffolding so I can bring the new stuff in. So if the new stuff doesn't work as well, it's okay because there's I know there's some gold coming up. Yeah,
do you practice on your family? Do your family think you're funny?
I mean, my kids are pretty good. Like they don't necessarily piss themselves laughing at everything I say, but they're aware. I think they appreciate and respect, that I've achieved a bit, and it's kind of hard to deny, that your dad's funny when I've done a certain amount.
Yeah.
So they're pretty respectful in that regard.
Oh, my boys.
Yeah.
So I think I'm funny. I'm not funny like you, but I crack good mum jokes at home, and my husband and my son both just look at me, don't even smile, and just shake their heads. Like, what are we living with you for?
I mean, on any given day, you never know the response you're going to get. Like I said, they're not like slapping their knee at everything I say.
But I reckon there's going to be a fair bit of knee slapping going on tonight at the Art House in Wyong. Pete, all week we've been giving away tickets to see you. We've been playing a game called Wikipedia, FM radio at its best. People just identifying famous Petes, but we're not going to do that today because we got you here. We're going to give them away right now. So if you'd like to see the man who is on the line with us, Pete Helliar, give us a call right now on 4365 1045. The last 2 tickets to go. Pete, good luck tonight, mate, and you're always welcome on the coast.
Thanks, Matty. Thanks, Gina. Pleasure to chat to you. Can't wait to get to Wyong tonight.
Yeah, have a good one.
The Gina and Matty Podcast.
For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.